Hey, we're late.
We're late again. Late has become our MO. So hello, Frenzy Knots. As you can tell, Oz isn't with us tonight. Last week we were late because he was chasing raccoons around the backyard, and today I think we overcame him. Maybe
we overcame him.
Yeah. He apologized. He's just not able to make it tonight. But hope you're doing all right, Oz, and get that rest, man. You need that rest. We all need that rest. So it's the three of us tonight. Adam can't make it either. He had a family thing going on. Nothing, no emergency or anything, but like a pleasant family activity going on.
Right.
So, and as we all say to each other behind the scenes, those of you who are watching now, family comes first. We always say that to each other. So that's how the frenzies. That's how the frenzy. That's how we roll. But I don't know how to say that. So Bobby, Shawn, how you doing, guys?
Doing okay. And yourself?
Right back.
That's how I answer every week.
It's very tense with you too. Or wrong. I'm like,
go around and come back. He's like, you say, Bobby, how you doing? He's like, boom. It's like racquetball. Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Back it pretty hard.
Yeah. Bobby and I were just talking about how we almost wore the same shirt tonight. And at the last minute, I was like, I'm just going to grab Popeye for some reason. And it would have been cool if we were both wearing that shirt.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about that too. I didn't say nothing. I was like, I'll see if he puts it on.
It's always a gamble.
Yeah.
But Shawn always has amazing t-shirts. Shawn, let's see yours.
Man at Arms.
That's my favorite version of Man at Arms right there.
He's my favorite hero.
Yeah, so like as a kid, I didn't really get into him, but as I got older, I think he's cooler than Batman. There's just no way around it. So
that's a great statement.
That is.
I'm not the biggest Batman guy to begin with. Like
I'm not either.
There's a certain something about him that I can respect, but Man at Arms being Man at Arms, it's like, he's cooler than Batman to me. So
why he's cooler is because he's not rich. He doesn't. He doesn't have that problem. And I've always loved Batman, but it's like you can only identify with a person like that to a certain extent. Right. There's so much about that lifestyle that all of us will never understand completely. We can just sort of fantasize about it or imagine it. Man at Arms, he's a hardworking guy, and we can all identify with that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you'll never hear the argument of why doesn't Man at Arms kill Skeletor, unlike the Batman versus Joker argument and stuff like that. Because it's like Joker always goes out and kills thousands of people. Why doesn't Batman kill him? He has a no killing rule, unless he's in a Zack Snyder movie, and then it's all right. But anyway, no, but Man at Arms' case, you don't have that argument ever, and it's mostly he's the utility knife of the heroes. He comes up with all those gadgets and experiments and all sorts of things. And he also ends up being the straight man for comic relief when you watch a Filmation and Orko does something random to him all the time. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah, great. They're a great comedic team, in fact.
Yeah. And then 2000X gave us badass Man at Arms fighting Skeletor, which that was mind blowing when I saw that for the first time.
And actually, I love the Revelation Man at Arms. I think that he was the best. The most well-developed character in Revelation. Yeah,
I agree. And the voice actor for him made him even like 2 or 3 notches over what I already respected, because he brought that like gravatas to him in that way too. So
definitely.
Yeah, no complaints.
Did you guys watch Game of Thrones?
Yes, I did. Yes,
I've seen a little bit, but I've never sat through the whole series.
So I don't know if we should probably do a whole episode on this, but I don't know. I don't know, folks. And I could have just been digging, and when we watched it, we were a little bit late to the game, and I was already I was really in the at the very beginning stages. No, I should say like I was deep in it, like recollecting vintage Master stuff, back in it, like getting deep into it. This is before Origins came out, Masterverse and all that stuff. And, you know, back then, before we were inundated with stuff on the market, we were just like looking for what we could find, right, between classics and Origins. And we were watching it, and I was like, oh, this is He-Man. These characters, we've got Evil Lyn, we've got, then you've got later on in the show, you've got this con artist character who's a man of many faces.
Yeah.
You know, and so there, and the I call them the Ice Pirates, but you all should watch Ice Pirates, folks.
Oh, that's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's like Police Academy in space.
Oh God, I've been watching that since I was a kid.
Oh, it's so good. I saw that in the theater, man.
Wow.
Anyways, yeah, those ice people or whatever are kind of. Anyways, we could go on. I could go on and on about it, but I kept bugging my wife. I was like, "That's Masters. That's Masters." And she's like, "You're crazy." So
I think everything takes from everything. So
absolutely,
there's no way around it. Nothing's completely original.
I mean, there was the comic artist John Byrne. He pointed out that the '87 movie was basically a motion picture version of the New Gods from Jack Kirby. Apparently, Gary Goddard actually was going that direction with his influences. And then he's like, "Oh my God, you caught it! That's awesome!" and all this stuff. So, and then we've had the whole thing with classics where they were saying, "Oh, well, there's a lot of Jack Kirby influence stuff," and I'm honestly like, I think you mean kind of more that direction than legit Jack Kirby within Masters. But yeah, it's like Bobby said, it's everything is an influence from somewhere else, no matter what you do. And Masters is a perfect example of that.
Yes.
If you read, you know, Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey, it all goes back to Greek mythology and pre-Greek mythology. It all goes back to cave paintings, man. Like everything. Anyways, we got deep right off the bat.
Yeah, we did. That's all right.
Let's go through the chat and say hello to everybody. So I'm gonna try and do this as fast as Oz, and I'm not going to. So get ready for half an hour of this. Pop Actor, good to see you. Pop Actor's first tonight. Nice to see you here.
Legitimately first.
What was that?
I said legitimately first.
Legitimately first. Cobweb, great to see you here. JMax77, always great to see you. Aaron, Kane's Toy Samples, can't stay late tonight, having to do stuff, totally understand. And yes, caress that like.
I like the caress the like button. I read that like 3 times. I'm like, no, he means it.
Me too, right?
Yeah, right.
Stumbling over that, I was like, what is he asking us to caress? Okay. Yeah, click that like button, folks. Thanos Copter, great to see you. Bud, good to see you here. Let's see how long you can stay awake. Yeah, let's see how long we can stay awake.
We're older than he is.
Thanos Copter says, almost predicting that we were going to be talking about Gary Goddard, says, "Good luck, Bud." Or maybe it happened at the same time. Thanos is smart, dude. He's probably did that on purpose. Pop Actor again. Oops. Okay, and go scroll.
See, I told him. I've called it out.
Ronald Embry's here.
Yeah, he like you were saying, he tells you that he's going to be on every week.
I love that.
He does that with the Toy Frenzy Instagram as well. He says he's going to be there. So
I love that. That's like it's like, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm committed to this. I'll see you soon. That's fantastic. And Pop Actor, are we live? Yes, we are. Finally, that's 4 minutes after we started, or maybe we started around then. Yeah, I don't know. And then Alf Inflict, great to see you. He always sends great messages and great information my way too, man. He's awesome. Cora, good to see you back.
All the way from Germany.
Yeah. And then Oh, Dana said typo, but that was like a fortuitous typo, man. You were like, that's great. And folks are talking to each other, which is awesome. It's great to see you all here. we have a lengthy discussion ahead of us. We've decided this week we would talk about cardback art and also talk about a little bit about Frank Frazetta, because he's influenced a lot of Masters of the Universe art throughout the years. And so much so, well, I don't want to give it away, I guess, but yeah, I'll hold my tongue a little bit. But we're also very interested to know what you all think in the chat about these images. We're going to talk a little bit about that stuff. But did you guys pick up anything this week?
I did a little thing.
You did?
Yeah, just the Rancid album.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, the new record.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. It's Rancid, but it doesn't blow you away. But I liked it a lot. So
well, you and I talked about this already, but we can say it again. Yeah. I love where they are right now, because you know, when I first heard them, I was like, "Who are these posers?"
That's what I thought. Yep.
You thought that too. We talked about that. Yeah. And then, but then those songs are so damn catchy, right?
Yes, they are.
Keep listening to them, hearing them.
I like the double vocals, all that stuff. The bass player, of course, is phenomenal.
Yeah, they're all great. And but now they look and sound like they've been around the block.
Yes, yeah.
And I can't get enough watching them now perform at their age. It's some bands age well, and these guys definitely have.
Yeah, I got to see them live on my birthday in Chicago at the House of Blues, and that was a fantastic concert.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never been able to see them, but I would want to see them now.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
think that was like 16 years ago already, 17 years ago. It's been a while. Yeah.
That's cool. Cobweb, that's awesome. That's great. And Thanos says Rancid has a new album. Yes, they do. Yep. Go check it out on YouTube. You can listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's called Tomorrow Never Comes.
Mm-hmm.
Great song.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's the best song on the album too, that title song.
Yeah, after listening through, it's the best one?
Yeah, still, yeah. And it's the first song on the CD as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Duchess, great to see you here. And Thanoscopter, I'm so out of touch. Man, you're preaching to the choir, brother. I feel so out of touch too. Watching that, watching the Muppets Mayhem show. Part of it makes me feel super deep nostalgia, and part of it I'm like, I don't know who these kids are. I don't know who these people are. These Muppets are. These poor old Muppets are having to talk to these youngsters.
Yeah, right.
I don't know who these people are.
It's the poor old people that are watching it now that have to deal with that.
Yeah, Dr. Gary's having a blast, and I'm just like, what did they say? What was that term they said? But
I love the 70s Muppets and stuff.
It's so good. It's so good. Shawn, I know you're a fan of the Muppets too. Have you tried watching the Muppets Mayhem? Oh wait, you said
I got to see one episode so far. I ended up it's not that I don't want to come back to it. I just haven't gotten back to it yet because for what was it? Shooting the Shelf over the weekend. We had to do a retrospective on Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah.
Most of my week last week to catch up on that. And then I'm also doing our for Offworld tomorrow night. The dude has us watching Powerless, that was on NBC for maybe like 12 episodes. I got through 7. I'm like, I don't know if I can get through more of this because I can see I got canceled personally, but I won't get into that too much. But yeah, so Muppet Mayhem is definitely on the list to keep going because my daughter thought the first episode was great. I love that she was enjoying it too. So.
It's good. I still haven't finished it, but it's good. I can only watch an episode here and there because no one else in this house wants to watch it with me.
Yeah.
I like sneaking episode. That's the types of things that I sneak. And John, figuratively speaking, showed up. Great to see you, John. Yep. Man, good to have you here. Hylian Dread, hey, stick around, buddy, because I got something to show you in a little bit here. We're going to do that before we jump into the discussion, so stick around.
Oh, yeah.
I got something really cool to show you. And pop actor. Well, what's up with the kids these days? I know.
Who knows?
Doing Toy Frenzy, pretty soon we're all just going to be sitting on our front porches.
I know.
And,
And we'll have our teeth in a jar and
Yep.
we'll sit there. Hey, babies, what's
I'm
up?
going to have my I'm gonna be throwing
Get off my lawn.
stuffed grimaces at the kids on the lawn. Get off the lawn. What the heck is this thing?
Why did the world go by so fast?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Elf Inflict is reciting lyrics here.
Yeah,
That's cool. So
I love Minor Threat.
So Shawn, what did you get? I see you got something there.
Yeah, so I got the notice the other day, and it showed up on my doorstep yesterday, along with it was literally Christmas here yesterday.
Oh.
And I was hiding everything possible because the last thing I need is to, because yeah, let's just put it that way. It was one of those days. But on the
jump in and say, if you want to hear Shawn talk about that, go listen to the Legends of Grayskull podcast episode that just launched a couple of days ago, where he talks a little bit about keeping some purchases down low.
Yeah. And I didn't even get into what they are. I'm looking across the room at them because the other thing too is I'm rebuilding my area. So hopefully next episode I'm going to have a better backdrop than the scary basement that's dark behind me. So that'll be cool too. But
is that new?
So months back, I reached out to Mondo just on a whim because I was on Council of the First One's podcast. David Clark actually goes, "Oh, they sent me review samples for the He-Man and the She-Ra that came out." And I'm like, "How'd you do that?" He goes, "I just told them I wanted review samples, and they said sure." And I'm like,
"Jeez,
I can do that?" And he goes, "Maybe." So I reached out, and I got that.
Oh man!
Wow.
And I have another one coming because I did buy it outright on top of that because I didn't want to assume I was just going to get a review sample.
Right.
So I am legit with this. One of them is to be reviewed, and one of them will be on my shelf. But the cool thing is the Anti-Attorney He-Man comes with 2 different display options. I don't think you'll be able to see it here, but unfortunately, I haven't even opened it until now.
Yeah.
But he comes with the traditional, the classic He-Man harness, like in the photo here. But then they give him translucent battle armor.
Oh, wow!
And
interesting.
It's translucent. It almost looks like it's red powered battle armor. The way they did it with the translucence. So I'm like, well, I got 2 display options now. I'm kind of happy with this, but the other one should be here on Saturday. So it's like.
That's
I have
awesome.
the 2 different He-Mans. I can have one with battle armor now, one classic looking. Same with him. And yeah, now I got to figure out my spacing already with this stuff. So,
okay.
Well, we're just to piggyback off of that, we should be doing that, Bobby, because this channel is now officially monetized and doing all the YouTube things that YouTube channels should be doing, I guess, if you're really putting in the effort. And for those that are close to getting there, you're gonna get there. Legends of Grayskull podcast, by the way.
We'll get there.
Does that mean I have to watch what I say now?
No, because it's we're not ever gratuitous, and we're not. I read the rules, and we never curse before within the first 7 seconds. We don't include curse words in our descriptions, and we don't ever. I'm glad that we're a channel that is respectful. We like to curse, but we don't.
Yeah, I don't do it over the top. Like
some of us like to curse, and also I think that keeps us real too, and we're not faking it. But we're also not gonna put inappropriate stuff on here because that's just not my style.
Sorry, but that's now my new name on Grayskull because that is like I do not have deep pockets at all. Afterpay is a beautiful thing if you can make it work for you. That's all I'll say about that when it comes to purchase.
Hey, whatever works for you, man.
It's not credit card debt and all that stuff, and it's like okay, over 6 months I can pay this off, and that's what I was doing. But It's still like, oh crap! Does my wife need to know how many things came in all at once yesterday? Because that's just how it worked out. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll have to talk more about the exact parameters of the review deal that you got going on.
Yeah,
That
no
you
problem.
figured out with the Mondo people.
No, honestly, it's pretty much there is no parameters per them.
Yeah.
It was me just saying I wanted to do a review. So once I get it out of the box, we could do one here. I'll do one on Legends, and that way it definitely covers all sides of things. If you want me to do that, so
yeah, we should get that out of the box tonight. That's exciting. I really want to see that translucent armor too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Was that shown? Like, was that like a thing that they shown when you were able to buy it? I don't remember seeing that. Yeah, it was. Okay, I don't recall.
I'll work on getting it out of the box here without too much trouble while you guys do your thing. So
cool.
All right.
Well,
Yeah, I didn't look at that figure too hard. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Scully.
That's right. I'm similar to you, Bobby. I saw it online. And I was like, swiped. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was like really cool, and I was like, that's too expensive.
Yeah,
so
I did my Twitter thing. You know, I said, hey, this is coming out. If you're interested, you know, and it's coming out by Mondo, and that was it. But I didn't really look at all that was included.
Yeah. Cora says, I was get a thrill out of seeing a character who started out in a German audio drama. Absolutely, yes. And he's really grown. Like, he's become so popular.
Yeah. A lot of people like that anti stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
another villain, you know, a villain of your favorite hero. So
fantastic. And the anti-Eternia Man-at-Arms mini that I saw made me really want to see an anti-Eternia Man-at-Arms figure as well.
I think that was one of the options, wasn't it, for when they did the yeah, it was, right?
Yeah, one of the selections.
Triclops one instead, which I was happy about.
Yeah, me too. And Cora also says Klarna is really useful. I use them a lot. Yeah, that's good.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Lord. I'm going to.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Yeah,
beautiful.
I mean, like
that looks like a sucker. Like you can actually like eat.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that too. Yeah, but like this is the beginning of why I was like, you're suckering me into this stuff because it's so. Like, they don't have anything like this in the line so far as I know. I'm still new to it, though.
Can you hold it up next to your hand, Shawn, so we can see the size of that? Oh, that's so cool.
Wow, that's big. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great.
I'm still working on it, but I'm getting there, guys. So.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, like, the one thing real quick about them that appeals to me, at least, is we have He-Man, who's the most powerful man in the universe, you know, huge force for good. And he's always somebody that he's got that Superman vibe. Like if you stand with him, he makes you want to stand up a little taller and all that kind of stuff, the way I always viewed him in Masters. And then when I found out about anti-Eternia He-Man, or anti-He-Man, some people call him, and they say he's the most evil man in the universe, my blood ran cold just hearing that. Because that's one of those ideas that to me, I'm like, I can't fathom what that means.
Right.
I can fathom most powerful man in the universe. It usually means, you know, X, Y, and Z Herculean feats and all this. But when you say evil, you're going to a level that somebody like me, I can't fathom the idea of what evil is because I don't want to be evil. That's completely against my nature. So he became like almost a boogeyman in Masters of the Universe for me. And it's the idea he's wearing the face of the hero that you've trusted and known all these years, but he's not that guy. And to me, that just messes with my head so much, and I love it for that reason. Yeah. So, you know, like I'd love to see a clash between the two of them, not being in just the multiverse comic.
Right.
And to see how far He-Man would have to go to actually stop him. Like that would be, I'd be on the edge of my seat watching that, to be honest.
I think if a show like Revelation evolves, in a positive direction, I mean, you know, I mean that because there's definite flaws in Revelation.
There's a lot of flaws in Revelation,
and I want to see it. I want to see the storytelling mature, and not just be there to. I feel like so much of many of the mistakes that happened in Revelation were because they were just trying to satisfy an itch and not quite getting there.
Yeah.
And so if they take the storytelling seriously in this next season, Revolution, and if they continue to do that, there's some good people on board with that show. So if they tried just a little bit harder, they could get us to a place where we might eventually see that, Shawn, where they bring in, because they're bringing in, they like to examine the deep cuts. So bringing in Anti-Eternia He-Man just makes so much sense.
Well, them having Blade even in Revelation was mind-blowing. Holy crap, they went there. So if they went there, what are the chances of something else? And even heck, Vicor, Wondar, and all those characters. I mean, first time we've ever seen them in any form other than just in Legends.
Yeah.
And just artwork.
Sometimes that stuff bugs me though, because I feel like they put that in there just to say, "Oh my God, look at that!" In a way. Yeah,
I definitely can agree with that too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it was cool to see Blade. I like that. I thought that was pretty neat. But at the same time, it's like, oh, they put him in, but why?
Yeah.
Well, I can imagine Goatman. I was like, when they paired Goatman and Pig Boy together.
Yep.
I was like, that's kind of like, it's like, and then they referred to them as like dredging the bottom of the barrel or whatever they said. I was like, that sucks, because I always like those two characters. I've always wanted to see them be bigger than
Goatman was cool too. He's only in that one golden book. I think it was the egg, right? The egg of the dragon, or whatever it's called. And yeah.
Oh, look at that!
That's awesome.
That looks like a mask on me.
I was gonna say, you looked like Catra.
Yeah.
So we got that, and then we also have a Thunder Punch in Hell Skull Power.
Oh,
I thought that was like one of those real deep jellyfish or something from the.
Yeah, well, Thunder Punch He-Man has this, but translucent as well.
Yeah.
And here is the battle armor.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
And there's a magnet piece, so you can switch out the H.
That's magnetized. I was wondering how that was.
Just
you can change those out.
Open, close, magnet.
Oh wow,
boom.
That's even better.
So,
I thought it snapped in there.
Yeah. So I mean, I can. There's an H with some wear on it, and then there's an H that's the regular H, depending on what you want to display them with. And then the only thing
like the tattoo what you wanted to get across your chest.
It kind of annoys me though, because the one thing I didn't realize this, that when Classics did them, they had that one shield that had like the Grayskull sigil on the front of it, and instead in this version, the only thing that you get for the shield is the regular shield, but black and red. So like Classics still has the win on that one for me, but the battle armor's kind of soothing that wound. So
that battle armor's
cool. It is cool. Yeah.
But anyway.
I need some translucent body armor.
Yeah,
I dig it.
So folks, I didn't get myself anything this week, but since Hylian Dread is here, I'm gonna post what I feel like is a gift.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Myself and to the Toy Frenzy team. But
show that shit off.
We can now do super chats and stuff like that on the channel. I'm still trying to figure out all the ways to get those things started, but you can become a member similar to our Patreons. You can become a member of this channel through YouTube as well. There are different options.
That how that works? Okay.
Yeah. And membership options, and we have a store.
We have a store?
We have a store.
That's a Svengoolie thing.
Oh.
I have a store?
You can get a Skelevator pint glass. But that's just the beginning. I had that on there. I didn't want to start with that one.
No, that's awesome. I love that. I can't wait.
But Hylian Dread, check it out. Folks, the Frenzied Needs You is now a t-shirt that can be purchased in this powder blue It's called denim blue, but it's powder blue for $19.99. The Frenzied Needs You. The design is by Hylian Dread, and he gifted this design to us. We couldn't be happier with it. It's amazing. There's other things available too. You can get a Skele Vader t-shirt as well, the little Skele Vader logo. That's the thing I hand drew that design back at the very beginning of this channel. And you know, exciting news, a Toy Frenzy t-shirt, black, purple, green, and blue, folks. You know how much we love these colors. The Toy Frenzy t-shirt looks pretty good. Oh, there's other things too. Sweater. You want a hoodie? You want a hoodie? You can get that. $34.99. This is like turning into a home shopping. I'm laughing.
Where's the models?
Yeah.
Totally. Oh, I'm not. Well, I shouldn't say it because then you guys will give me all those. I have to model
we're gonna make you do it. The white T-shirt too, as well. It's available in all sizes, all the way up to 3XL. These T-shirts. So, and Bobby's eyes lit up when he saw this.
That's badass.
Frenzied Needs You mug. We also have a Frenzied Needs You sticker.
Oh wow.
Let's see, the Skele Vader pint glass.
That looks funny. The two things I wanted are something I could drink out of.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, you know, we got to stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. So I'm pretty excited about the store.
Can you do a Toy Frenzy
oh yeah
class too? Can you switch that? Okay.
I can do that. There's a it's really so this
and a Skele Vader coffee mug. I'll buy all four.
Oh yeah, I'll do it. The site is really easy to navigate, and it's a site that YouTube uses. I still haven't quite figured out how to get it onto the YouTube page, but right now, if you go down below, there's a link there, folks. You can go there and shop for your merch. Yeah. Oh, JMax77, I'll be rocking this merch at PowerCon for sure. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I've read some good reviews about the company, so hopefully the prints come out good. That's like you order them and they print them for you, kind of like TeePublic. You order it and they print you individual T-shirts.
If anybody buys anything, let us know what the quality is like, and if it's not good, we can switch companies too.
Oh,
right?
100%. Like, we're not gonna stick with them just because. Like, we want to make sure you all are happy. Let us know how it turns out. We're not rich, so we can't really just, try out a bunch of different companies and test all their products. So we're just doing what's the most affordable option. Thanos Copter asked to drop the link, so here's the link. That's actually the link to one of the products, but that'll take you to the store.
Mm-hmm. We have a store? No. I'm sorry. I love that. I have to say that.
So that's pretty cool. And I never thought we'd ever get to this point where we could do stuff like this. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I didn't know you were doing that.
I just did it this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
I just got the news. Like, as soon as you guys got I emailed you all and I'll let you know.
You emailed me? I didn't see. I don't look at my emails. I got
rotary phone.
If it's not thrown in like the Instagram chat or something, I look at my email like once a week.
Oh man, no, I didn't email. I that's just my old lingo here.
Yeah. Oh, you did it in the chat?
In our chat.
Did you? I passed over that.
I think you commented. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
I don't know what maybe you didn't. I don't know, but I'll say this.
Well, maybe I did like it. I just didn't read it. I don't know.
Maybe.
I apologize.
What was that line earlier about the three old guys on a show?
Yeah, right.
I will say one of the most comforting. This is a really weird emotion to have, but since Toy Frenzy and and the patrons of this channel have become they've all become friends with each other.
Yeah, it's
Like
great.
I've never in my life felt overwhelmed and comforted at the same time. Like I look at the chat going on and everybody talking to each other. I'm like, okay, as long as I just like a couple of these, then I'll get that. That's hopefully showing how like loved I feel in seeing all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's beautiful. It's so cool to see it. Everybody, like, I'm getting all choked up. It's so cool to see everybody talking to each other all throughout the week.
Right. Yeah, and when I comment, I love it that they ignore me, so it's great.
Yeah, yeah. You just pop in, you throw in a GIF or a video on Instagram, and makes everybody laugh.
That guy dancing, oh man, he's sitting there patting his head. Oh my god, that was so funny.
I want to know. That's kind of how I feel. Like break dancing or like freak out half the time when I see everybody having such a good time with each other out there.
Yeah, it's a blast.
So what else did you see in that box, Shawn? You want to share any other elements?
Oh well, I put together. So there's the battle armor the way
cool.
God intended.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That, and just I pulled him out finally too.
Oh
Nice.
man.
So
yeah, he looks great.
Yeah,
definitely goes to the dentist.
Yeah, he comes with, and ironically, because Mondo always does this, except for in a few cases, I think they did give him. I didn't unwrap this, but they even gave him a vintage-looking head, if you want to go there. Which I'm not gonna worry about that. And then there's one where his mouth's closed, and it's just the regular face.
Before the dentist.
Before the dentist, yeah. When he goes in with the toothache, and then when he leaves,
he's not willing to smile or anything.
No,
mouth shut.
But yeah, this guy, I'm thrilled that I got him. I didn't think, because this was like a limited number.
Yeah.
And that's why I reached out. I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna let me do this or not. And then all of a sudden they're like, you're on the mailing list. Okay, I will accept that. So
I'll have to try that with Beastman.
Go for it. I mean, like, I'm legit going to do what I told him. I'm not going to just take it and run with it or whatever.
He's moving across country, different homes, so he can't get caught just because of a figure.
But yeah, like, I mean, in the case of that, like, that endeared me to them already because they didn't have to do that. Yeah. Even though I gave my credentials, I'm like, I do have a podcast. At that point, I wasn't on Toy Frenzy yet, so I was like, well, I got Legends of Grayskull. We have over 900 subscribers on YouTube. I'd be happy to do a review of it, and da-da-da-da-da. And the next thing I know, I have a working relationship with them to an extent. So I'm like, okay, but I'm not going to overwhelm them. I'm not going to every single thing.
No, of course not.
Because like when Trapjaw came out, I'm like, no, I'm just buying him outright. I'll be that guy about it instead of just asking them. But yeah, so.
Well, I'm not been tempted to enter the Mondo territory yet. But when I saw an image of that Beastman, I was like, oh,
yeah,
God, that thing is amazing looking.
I saw that. Yeah, I posted about that too as well. But yeah, that thing is
that thing looks
cool. And that was just the drawing. That was just the art of it. So
exactly.
That wasn't even the figure yet.
Yeah, I will be picking and choosing. I'm not gonna go all in on everything. Like Anti-Eternia He-Man was me just going, I like them enough that it would be cool to get one, but if they said that they were out and it was sold out, I wasn't going to be, and go on secondary market or whatever. But yeah, Trapjaw, I already have them pre-ordered. They're doing the Deluxe Skeletor. I don't know when that's coming out. Probably this summer. They'll probably do the pre-order, I'm guessing. And Panther and Beastman are definitely ones where I'm like, yeah, you got me there. Mm-hmm. And then if they do ones like Fisto or Ram Man, those are ones where it's like, okay, those are guys that they are some of my favorites that I really want to see what they do with them.
Imagine Ram Man at that size.
Ram Man's gonna be like, I mean, these already, I don't know, like off the top of my head, just holding this, I want to say this is probably at least 5 pounds.
Really?
So Ram Man being Ram Man at this size is probably going to be close to 20 pounds or something if they have them legit full of plastic.
And the Beastman looks huge too. Like,
yeah.
Would you could you maybe put the vintage style head on there? I know you didn't want to do that, but I kind of want to see it.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't like done any of the pop and swap stuff on my other ones, so this is a good one to play with. So that's the vintage on them.
I kind of love that.
Well, that's
I would love that.
You're always a fan of the quirkier version or the a little off version, and this is a perfect example. Like the He-Man comes with it, the deluxe one, but the regular one I opened last week doesn't.
Oh, okay.
So I have one of those, but I won't use that because it doesn't fit the body style.
Right.
But this is one where you could do that, and it actually does make sense, in my opinion.
It makes sense to have this head on this guy.
Yes.
And he looks scarier, honestly. Similarly, the Masterverse Faker that's just come out or just coming out, the He-Man head sculpt on that guy looks amazing because they let him look just a little bit scarier.
Yeah. And that one, that Masterverse Faker is probably the best He-Man head that they've done since they restarted the line, like both lines, in my opinion. So hopefully they do another He-Man where they can use that and not have to paint and customize that head for anybody who doesn't want to paint or customize it. Then you get a He-Man head, and it looks really, it's like really close to what I want He-Man to look like.
Yeah.
But yeah, the funny thing is, this vintage-esque head almost makes me feel like it's like Michael Myers, and he's just like wearing his own face to go do what he does, in that way.
Totally. That's so cool. I'm sorry, I just love that. I love the way that looks
because it just has that like Halloween mask vibe, like when we were kids. The what was
that?
I can't remember the name of the company that did the old masks with the vinyl suits.
Oh, I think that mask was Don Post. I think the William Shatner one. I'm thinking of.
I'm thinking of
I did a post on that.
Elastic around the back. You know what I mean? I know there's a legit name, and I cannot think of blanking on it.
Yeah,
but it reminds me of like he would put this on at Halloween and go out and start butchering people all night long. It's like that's
Ben Cooper.
Ben Cooper, thank you. Yes, and
if you go on my Twitter, I did a couple.
Wait, do that again.
Couple posts. Couple posts on the Halloween masks of He-Man and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
all kinds of shit on there.
He's got all kinds of stuff on his Twitter, folks. Go check out his. I'm getting a kick out of what Pop Actor said here. Breakdancing, I bet kids have no idea what that is. Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. And then I think they're going to do an anti-Eternia Battle Cat. That would be. But started the sentence almost like saying this is going to happen, I think. And then
he's putting it out there to see if the universe responds. I would be shocked if they did, because those cats are going to be huge.
Yeah, they gotta be like this big, right?
I mean, I forget how. Battle Cat's probably going to take this much if I actually hold it in front of my screen when I finally get it. And I'm talking probably like 18 inches or so.
Yeah.
And that might even be conservative at this point.
No, I don't think it's got to be. Well, if that guy is 12 inches tall, is he 12 inches?
He's close to 12 inches, yeah, if not 12 inches.
He's got to be. Then the Battle Cat's got to be 18 at the least.
Yeah.
He is just under 12 inches.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Battle Cat's got to be 18 at the least.
So I mean, they got the sculpts, they got the tooling. If they went there, they could do it, and that would probably sell out like crazy, because anybody that sees a black and red striped Battle Cat, I think that would probably be one of the core. Oh my God, everybody's going crazy because they can get this version or whatever.
Beautiful. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanos said Skele, you got to go all in on Mondo and build playsets to this.
That goes against everything you've been trying to do, is cut back and save your money, and then you're gonna go spend money on like $200 and something on each figure.
Also, I don't want to be kicked out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, there, in all realistic, in the sense of being realistic, or to be realistic, not in the sense of to be realistic. That's
what are you talking about?
I don't know what that would be impossible. I'd have to have a lot of money. I'd have to build an extension on the house. I'd have to start using materials where I could build the mini golf course in the backyard.
Yeah.
And I'd have to find a way to convince my wife to make it all okay. Because I would go all out if I had no reins to corral me.
Well, I think we all would if we.
Yeah.
We'd all have like $15 million in debt on credit cards if we just said screw it.
Here it goes.
If I won Powerball tomorrow, I would like one of the first things I do is I would buy back everything that I had to sell last year to help my family out, and then I would go all in on all the He-Man, Mondo stuff from now until they say, okay, we're done. We've exhausted every character we possibly can. And I'd be like, and I have most of them then. So
yeah.
And then I'm downstairs playing with them and fighting, and my kids are like, but Daddy, we have college. That's awesome. I got more room now for my toys. You know?
Downstairs, you'd at least buy like another house to
absolutely, yeah.
Guillermo del Toro style, and have a house dedicated to your collections, right? Have any of you guys seen the tour through his Bleak House?
Mm-hmm.
His monster.
Yeah.
Food?
I'll have to watch that. That sounds fun.
I'll be like, of course I've seen that. All right. Anyways, pop actor. I spinned on my head once on the floor as a kid, nearly killed me. Never break dancing again. Hylian Dread says, I saw a video of a kid swiping a cassette in a Walkman like a credit card. And Bud says, I'm happy with my Origins Anti-Eternia Battle Cat I painted. There you go. You know, that's I'd have nowhere to put any Mondo figures. Yeah, exactly. I don't have the room for that stuff either. But I got to invest in a basement like Shawn has. I just got to get a shovel, creep the neighbors out.
It's like the bird.
Flopex.
Thank you. We went through the same thing. Flopex. He's out in his yard. It's raining, and he's still digging what's going on out there.
This is the other gift from this week. Shawn, you came up with this. Punk Rock Grimace.
Yeah. Punk Rock Grimace.
And Bobby got a kick out of that when you said that. So I wrote that down on this piece of paper.
It's awesome. That idea is fantastic. I love it.
I mean, his birthday is coming up. We need a Punk Rock Grimace to celebrate that. Celebrate that weirdo.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, the new Spider-Verse movie hit last week, and I saw it with my kids. If they have a Spider-Man that's a punk Spider-Man, there should be a punk Grimace, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. All right. But I keep watching. I'm waiting for him to get sucked into the darkness and disappear. That is that sheet. It's the curtain, I think, the lace curtain behind there. Is that what you're talking about, Bud?
Well, this is a ratty old curtain that was left over from the original owner that I got to take down. The other thing he's talking about is probably right here, and that is I have a fan because there's no real great ventilation down here, so I have a fan blowing all the time.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hylian says, if I won the lotto, I'd put some savings to help my family. Absolutely. Donate to cancer and AIDS research, and then convert a golf cart into a land shark or Bashosaurus.
Thank God he said the last part. I was going to feel like a complete asshole for the fact that I wanted to buy Mondos.
Yeah, that's like Mondos.
Those would be things as well. It would not just be Mondos, but yeah, like all of a sudden I'm just thinking of just like the fun money for me at least. But there'd be like a lot more going to my family, obviously, and stuff. Because I don't think my wife would even have it if I didn't let the kids have the college funds completely, completely filled out, or whatever you want to call it, maxed out. So
yeah. We'd all want to do like the best thing first, and then take that leftover money and build an amusement park. I think that's what we'd all like to do.
Yeah.
All right, shall we jump into the big discussion?
Yep.
Oz did his homework, folks. Actually, he sent me. I'm gonna get this conversation going, and then while I notice a time when you guys are talking to each other, I'm gonna try and find the information that he sent me regarding where he found his images. But we've got today we're going to be talking about Masters of the Universe art and influences. I didn't have enough room on here to provide all the information for it as a title. So really what we're talking about is cardback art, and we're also mainly talking about primarily one influence that's been showing up, especially in Origins, and as Shawn pointed out in the recent episode of Legends of Grayskull podcast, also in Masterverse now as well with Vicron. But Frank Frazetta, essentially, who's an artist who's been a big influence on Masters of the Universe art throughout the years. But I am not an expert, and I don't. Bobby and I were talking about how some of these drawings are Errol. I almost said Errol Morris.
McCarthy.
Errol Morris is a filmmaker. Errol McCarthy did most of the cardback art, but if we get some of it, if there are a few in there that are done by other people as far as the vintage stuff goes, apologies for not being an expert here, folks, but I know the people that watch this show won't get mad at us. But this is great. Oz sent over this picture of the Grizzlor art for Origins, and a sketch, a Frazetta sketch that influenced the basic design of the stance of the Grizzlor, even with She-Ra posing in the same pose as the woman in front of that giant bear creature. But it makes sense to use Frazetta's work because you guys are familiar with his work, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, he's famous for the covers of fantasy and sci-fi novels, primarily fantasy novels, and also I believe he did some work for Heavy Metal magazine, and just it's got. Did you guys see the Frazetta, the Toshin book that's coming out, or that came out? It's like $300.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes, we discussed that. I think you brought it up, and we were talking about it in the chat.
Yeah,
a while back. Yeah,
beautiful, just unbelievable.
Yeah, the thing with him, for me as a kid, I didn't know. I might have maybe seen a few things here and there, but the thing with Frazetta for me is the way he painted stuff always made me feel like he legit was staring at whatever he was painting, because he doesn't go into huge details. It's more of like broad strokes of the idea, and your mind just starts making the story, and the picture comes to life because of how effective his layout and his talent was with his brush. And so like some of those Conan covers from the 60s that he was doing, like there's like barbarism on those where that was not how you viewed those characters until he came along. So it's only, it's like him being the guy to actually put that out there. It's no wonder how influential he was after that point on.
Yeah.
So, but this one bugs me because I didn't even catch this one. Like I caught a few. I caught a few where it's like the design is similar to such and such, but I didn't even catch this one because the sketch art for me is like I've seen some of his sketches, but I'm not as well versed compared to like his paintings I've seen, and I know them way better. So it's like, man, they're getting stuff under the radar on me. This is great.
And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is that there's nothing wrong with sourcing material that came from before. because it's very rare that someone comes up with a 100% original idea.
Right.
Yeah.
And so accessing Frazetta's work is really smart. This is Axel Jimenez, right?
Yes.
So what he's done here is he's smart in using Frazetta because he's accessing the embedded nostalgia that people from our generation already have and seeing Frazetta's work pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and on albums, on posters, and on magazine covers, on book covers, and then combining that with masters, which is embedded in our, you know, DNA. And so it makes a lot of sense to do that. Here's another similar image,
right. Which is awesome.
Yeah. And this is one of my favorites. When I saw that, I even recognized this too when it was when it popped up. When the Coldar image is that direct image of the I forget the name of that character. Someone did a
Death Dealer.
Yeah, the Death Dealer. Thank you. This is the I was trying to concentrate and do this at the same time, but Michael Breithmeyer. Forgive me, Michael, for mispronouncing your name, but I follow you on Instagram. Not like you're watching right now, but so yeah, this is his Instagram page, and this is where Oz grabbed most of the Origins cardback art that we're about to start looking at, comparing Origins with Vintage. But Michael, you've got a great page, man, and a lot of good information there.
Yeah, a lot of people were passing around all that imagery. Yeah, all that. Sometimes it's hard to figure out who did it first.
That's true. It may not have been Michael, but and Axel Jimenez actually posts a lot of his influences and his work too. So
yeah, I love the Coldar one. Yeah.
Love this one. The lights and the darks and the colors and bringing in the snake people and who knows who else is down there.
That one's got a like oh man, no, I shouldn't have brought this up because I just in my mind just like Giger's like colors in a way.
Oh yeah,
H.R. Giger. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Like the dark grays and whites and
shades of browns and grays and so any other thoughts on these? There's a couple more. There's another one at the end that we'll show, and then Shawn, you sent us some beautiful artwork, so I can't wait to talk about that too at the end. But we got a lot of slides to go through, so let's jump into the cardback art, comparing Vintage to Origins. And this is where Oz said he got that information from Michael's Instagram. So right off the bat, I want to say I love the Origins cardback art. I think that it's gorgeous. I'm so glad that it's going to be in a book because as I've said before on the show, I'm not one to save this stuff. So I'm really relieved. And I, of course, as a kid, didn't save any cardback art from my vintage stuff that I had that I no longer have. So I never got to just sort of, I would sit and look at these images, for a short period of time before they'd be thrown out. But they stuck in my mind. So what are my preference is the vintage art, even though the artistry has improved quite a bit for the origin stuff, but I still love the quality of the vintage cardback art. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I go with the vintage as well, of course. But the one thing I do like about the modern one is the colors are more popping compared to the vintage. But that's just the way they do it nowadays. But yeah, I do love the vintage art myself. It's just classic. I mean, but it's because it's been around for so long too. It's probably something we've been seeing forever. so
Yeah.
you're used to seeing it more.
That's probably true.
But
Yeah, the vintage for me, it's like I just want to grab my toys.
mhm.
Like I honestly, like looking at the Whiplash one, I'm like, I literally feel like I should just go into my bedroom, grab my. I had Rubbermaid boxes. My mom would put my stuff in. Just grab my Rubbermaids, Whiplash, and He-Man. Let's do this, you know. And
Yeah.
and it's the vintage one for me that still works. But then on the other hand, for Squeeze, I like the new one because I think it's cool to show on the vintage one that yeah, you can have them wrap around two figures, but I think it's more dynamic with the layout they did on the new one. And
Mhm.
I actually have a soft spot for Snake Armor He-Man because I love 2000X anyway. So I kind of dig that one just a little bit more because the other one's just sort of like it's a hug. This one is like He-Man's like fighting him to keep away from those arms, which I think works better from just like a play standpoint, personally.
Yeah, and you can tell that one is hand drawn and one is probably digitally drawn. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and Shawn, you have experience with digital rendering. So, are there telltale signs besides the polished quality of the newer works compared to?
Typically, the polish is definitely a big telltale sign. Like when you look at the vintage artwork, you can tell that they probably used marker or paint and brushes to paint them, and you're going to be able to look at the line work and you're going to see the strokes of the inks, and like when they use the brushes or even the pens and stuff. With digital, you have to be aware of like you have to be aware of your line weights to give it some variation, because if you have settings that are one way or the other, you might just have here's a line with no character to it. But if you use pressures and things like that or different brushes, you can make that line have a lot more visual appeal. So that's like a whole nother thing to get into. I'm not even going to get into that rabbit hole and all that, but it really is interesting. We have more ability to do this and make it look professional now.
Yeah.
But if you still just go in thinking you know how to do this, you still might not come up with something that looks as good as what Axel's doing with what the line is doing.
Mhm.
But yeah, like for me, the colors on the new stuff, they're nice, but I feel like sometimes they overwhelm what Axel's put down on the art. So in some ways, I'd almost rather see a black and white version of what he intended, and instead, because there's almost like the highlights are almost too bright sometimes for me. Like if you look at, say, for instance, Ratlore and the He-Man one, for instance, there's a lot of highlights on those.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the one underneath it, I don't want to say it's a flat color, but it doesn't take away from the art the way it's colored as much, in my opinion. So it's like if there was a medium between the two, I think that would be my happy spot. So
Yeah, that Rattler one is pretty loud. The
Yeah.
Origins version.
The
yeah,
back
like
is almost overwhelming what we're seeing in the foreground because
Yes.
there's so much.
mhm.
There's so much color back there.
Yeah, and I mean that's the beauty of now with the digital art. You can do all that color, and that's great. But I know there's someone who does the colors. I don't know his name, unfortunately. But every time I see what he's been doing,
Yeah.
I always feel like if you just toned it down just a little bit, I think you would really make it pop better.
Yeah.
You said an in between the Ratlore on the top and the
Yeah,
Ratlore on the bottom.
yeah,
And I agree with you because what works really well with the bottom image is that the foreground is distinct.
yeah,
Yeah.
The background is, well, I mean, I'm getting tickled right now just because I love this. I love this vintage Ratlore image so much,
hmm
like so weird and wonky. But the background is almost like an afterthought, which
Mhm.
makes the foreground really pop.
Right.
Like
yeah,
they
yeah.
had to put it there, so they put it there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that it's monochrome because the both characters have a lot of brilliant red in them. So they made that monochrome, like bluish green background. So it's like you got complementary colors kind of going on from a color theory perspective, but it really is just there's very little differentiation of what you're looking at in that background unless you really sit there and look at that. But what you see in the foreground, it's like, oh, it's an attack. Okay, toys, let's do this, you know?
Right.
And that's the intention. So
Yeah, because the more I'm looking at the Cobra Khan and Rattler, the origins, it just you can get lost in the photo just looking at everything in a way. It just like you look at that, what is that, He-Man getting splashed there? It's hard to make him out with what's going on behind him, all that other detail. It's too much sometimes. You know, if they kept the backgrounds a little bit less complex, I think it would be a lot better if you just focus more on the characters.
Yeah, I mean, Errol McCarthy did that brilliantly,
right? Yeah,
in the 80s. And that I'm not saying this in any way to take away from what Axel and the colorists are doing now, but the simplicity of some of the old ones, it's like I almost wish they could be as simple now with the looks of those things. And it's like maybe there's an art director at Mattel who's pushing them to be a lot more detailed, and Axel's doing his best to straddle the line of, okay, this has to feel nostalgic, but they do want me to make an environment to let people know what Eternia looks like at the same time, you know?
And Eternia has always been colorful, and in a way, Origins cardback art is kind of bridging the gap between the vintage cardback art nostalgia and the nostalgia we also have for the Filmation cartoon.
Yeah.
Because this really is a throwback to those background environments that we would see in Filmation.
Yeah, but I was gonna bring up Filmation too, in a way that those background, the background art and all that stuff isn't really loud compared to what you see here.
That's true. That is so true.
It's more focused with the characters, and I mean, and we appreciate that background. We love those backgrounds, but they're not in your face. Like those two are in your face.
Yeah,
it's
and
tough.
even something that they teach you in art school is about like putting a piece of art you have across the room almost and seeing the contrast and being able to make out what you're trying to do. And in the case of the Stinkor one, for instance, for me, I had to look at that a couple times to go, oh, Mossman's in that.
Yeah.
Just now. And like in the original version, the color of the red, the almost like magenta-ish background, and there's He-Man. There's Stinkor, and I get they're trying to probably do the whole Mossman is blending into the background, but for me, like when I look at it this way, it's a really good telltale sign of like simple is better in some cases of this.
I do love the half of that with the Stinkor part.
Stinkor looks great.
With the yellow smell and all that stuff around him. That's awesome. I love it because you can see him.
Yeah,
but he doesn't blend in like those other ones were.
One of my favorites is that Fisto punching Skeletor out.
Yeah,
good, so good. It does. I will have to say about the Stinkor Mossman image for Origins makes a lot more sense. Than Stinkor battle damaged He-Man, because at the time when Stinkor and Mossman came out, I was all about those two guys because they both smelled, primarily because they both smelled, and they came out at the same time. Didn't they? Maybe they did. I think they did.
I think so. Yes.
My memory says that they did.
Yeah, they did.
And to have them, it would have made sense to have them both on the fighting each other on the card.
Yeah, the smell versus the pine smell.
Exactly. Smells.
One really cool thing that I learned about that card back, actually, the vintage one, the Stinkor one, is that one was drawn by Dave Stevens.
Yes.
And if anybody thinks that name sounds familiar, he's the creator of The Rocketeer.
Oh, wow.
He worked on, I don't remember, there's like one or two others he did back then, and I had no idea he was even working in toys, because I always just equated him to the Rocketeer, and he did a lot of other like he would do some DC work and independent comic book stuff. But to all of a sudden go, he actually worked on Masters, that's freaking awesome. So
That's cool.
And I do own that Stinkor card back. I do have that.
Nice.
The original, yeah, the vintage one.
nice.
Yeah. I have that in Dragon Blaster Skeletor. That's the only two card backs I have.
Those are good ones.
Yep.
Thanos Copter says Filmation was colorful but more muted and had a painted style. Yeah, you can
Yes.
see you can see the hand of the artist in those background things.
Mhm.
So cool. Yeah.
And the Origins Fisto one, that's not as bad because it's still that one. It's still muddy though to me. It seems
A lot
kind of muddy. Yeah.
I'm really picking up Fisto in that, and I really like his. I do love the layout and the poses in that one. It's a really dynamic action piece, but Jitsu just gets lost in that one. I have to. It's the same as Mossman. Every time I look at that, it is like Bobby said, muddy is the best way I could describe that, because Fisto has the only color that's making him pop because he's got the purple, and everything else is more like a brown or an orange there. So
I find this kind of hilarious in a way, because here we are all the time saying how great the card art is and how beautiful all this packaging is. Now that we're actually looking at it and analyzing it, we're kind of like downing on it.
No. See, I don't think.
No, I mean not downing, but I mean it's like
it's not a bad thing to do this, because, like, number one, I was thinking about this tonight before we went on, and I'm like, how cool is it that out of all the toy lines that are near and dear to a lot of people, Masters is still continuing a tradition of 40 years by still adhering to the artwork being an essential part of what makes that brand its brand. And, Axel being Axel, I love that he's on the line, because he really is bringing a lot of nostalgia, but he's also bringing the modern sensibility to it. And for me, it's just that coloring. And it looks great on the back of the boxes. Like, when you see that there, you're like, wow, I mean, that's like an impactful image of this character I just bought. And, it starts making your mind go back to when you were 4 or 5 holding these in your own hand, going like, like thinking of the adventures you're about to have when you get home and get them with the other figures and stuff. But it is really cool to do this too, because you're comparing Errol McCarthy, Dave Stevens, and all these other artists of that era to the new stuff, and it really does make you go, there is something to be said about, yes, it can be updated, but man, the old school still is the old school, and it really does have its place. It's like it works for me in that way, and it's, I don't feel we're criticizing it. I feel like we're just taking a look at it and we're seeing what works and what doesn't, because we have that ability now. All the time.
And also, this, I'm gonna give the new art a compliment here, just like Pop Actor did, which is that the Fisto fighting Jitsu makes so much more sense than Fisto punching Skeletor, because Jitsu and Fisto came out around the same time too, just like Mossman and Stinkor.
Absolutely. And just like I like the Snake Arbor He-Man versus Squeeze. I mean, it's like they're doing these things that do make sense within the line, and I have nothing but appreciation for that too, because the old line didn't have Snake Armor He-Man, for instance. So
Precisely. Just right off the bat, I need to say I've always loved that Merman versus Battle Armor He-Man image too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love Merman in the artwork, whether it be the books or the comics or the card backs, whatever. Merman always looks great.
Except for those golden books, the big hardcover ones, they're kind of goofy looking.
I kind of love those.
They're really weird, man.
I'm
The,
sorry, I have.
the one with Skeletor with oh yeah.
I must have been dropped on my head or something as a kid. I love that.
No, I mean they're all right, but when when you're so used to seeing like the real good stuff all over, and then you open those up and you're like, whoa,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some of that artwork, it looks like someone did it. Someone was
I got the
at
books
like
right over there. I
like
should
10 cups
show
of
them.
coffee. They had to get it done
Yeah.
or 6 a.m. because that's when it was due, and they didn't really want to do it in the first place. And no insult to those artists because I
Right.
love that stuff, but sometimes you can tell that an artist is like, I'm at my wit's end. I just got to get this done.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I love these. I think the Origins Merman versus Battle Armor He-Man with Man at Arms in the background is great too.
Yeah,
that's a good example of how they were able to balance the background imagery with the foreground imagery quite well, I think.
Man at Arms looks badass too.
Oh yeah, he's about to kick ass.
Yeah,
Kicking ass and taking names.
the Buzzsaw Hordak too.
Yeah, that Hordak too.
I like the vintage version better than I do the new Origins version because you can see it better.
Yeah, you can see the
what it's doing. Yeah. About to chew off Tongue Lasher's face there.
Totally, yeah. I mean, I like being able to see. It's also smart that they used a gimmicky He-Man for the gimmicky Hordak too.
Well, yeah, because those are the two that came out together. Yeah, those did. Yeah, the Flying Fists He-Man.
Yeah, what's the? So they gave us a little story in the vintage one of this one. You got 2 cells or 2 images. Hordak's like, oh, these guys are behind me. Turn around and blast them with my buzzsaw.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that before.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Oh, I don't remember them doing that other than that one.
Yeah, I don't recall.
That's like the anomaly one.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, it shows that it's got his chest closed, and then the toy it opens up while it shoots out, so now you can see it like that too.
Yep. These are great too.
See that Mosquito for Origins is a lot better because the background is really toned down.
Yep.
I like that a lot.
He looks a lot more sinister too. Although his chest in the vintage one is like bleeding.
Yeah, it's cool.
More substantially. But yeah, he's more sinister in the Origins one.
Yeah.
I think the Origins Mosquito is a triumph. I have to say, like, he's a great figure.
Yeah, he is.
Really cool. What are you gonna say, Shawn?
The one next to it, I don't even know what character is that. Is that for Hordak?
I believe it is Hordak. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because it seems like he's like leading them, but there's this vibe of the new one where, again, looking at it from how it's not huge on my screen, so that's part of it.
Right.
But like the only thing that I can pick up on that is Grayskull and Modulok's heads are in the way, and other than that, it's just like purples and blacks and magentas, and it's like, holy, that's again, the cleaner color scheme would help it right there for me.
Well, I think the Origins one is showing that they're going through the portal to get to Grayskull compared to the original vintage
where they're
already there.
Yeah.
But they've been teasing that Modulok for a while. That's the thing about the Origins card backs. I mean, everybody knows this by now, is that they've been teasing figures that are potentially coming out in the near future. But Modulok's been teased for a while and he's still not out. That happened with Moss Man as well. Took a while for him.
Well, it's still not out.
Well, no, but I mean, at least they said that he is coming.
I don't even believe it at this point. It's like Moss Man should have been out a long time ago.
He is. He's in vintage. Go get the vintage.
Yeah. I have my vintage one that I got. Even though he's matted and all gross looking, it's like
Really?
he's great. He's
Yeah,
great.
I love him.
Oh, here's another great merman too. And the
Yeah.
Origins version of this is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot more toned down. The backgrounds aren't as
Yeah.
loud. Yeah,
I like that one has the sea monster that He-Man fought in the first 4 mini comics.
yes.
Right? Them
Yep.
too. That was the one that I got the most of when I was a kid for some reason. And every time I saw that cover, it's like, man, I would just study that thing for hours.
Mm.
So, and I do like that the team up on the Origins one, Buzz Off versus Web Store.
And that's another good one because the backgrounds aren't so loud.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one so much easier. Like I couldn't tell that was He-Man at the bottom until just now. But even though it's like He-Man's not even like the focal point, it's supposed to be about Buzz Off versus Web Store anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I love the Grayskull in the vintage one too. It's like beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The sea creature that's like an octopus. Do you guys remember the wall crawlers?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Those sticky ones. Yep.
That guy back there reminds me of a wall crawler.
I used to throw those all the time. I remember being at my grandmother's and just whipping it at her glass door.
You just exactly described an exact memory of mine. My grandmother's glass door.
Yeah. We just go over there, babysitting, just watch it climb down.
Yeah.
That and the Sucker Man. I used to have Sucker Man as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. These are great too. Oh, can I just also note that the tropical environment that shows up in the vintage cardback art shows up a lot less in the Origins one, except for in this one with Roboto and Triclops. You see a couple of palm trees.
Mm-hmm.
But that tropical environment always used to fascinate me as a kid because that's very different from the surreal environment of Eternia's landscape.
Yeah.
Palm trees and ferns and stuff is very recognizable. I'm going to go back a little bit because I wanted to bring it up earlier. They're right down there with Cobra-Con. And I used to sort of like, I noted that as a kid. Seeing those.
You can still fight in paradise.
That's right. There you go. Let's see.
You're laying on the beach and you got these big assholes running around shooting at each other.
Totally.
That sounds like Lou Scheimer's take on Masters when they pitched it to him to help him do that. There's these barbarians that come out of the woods and try to kill each other. It's like I'd be down with that. That works.
Just to be buried up to your neck in the sand, and then all of a sudden these guys are just coming around and kicking your head like a ball.
Yeah, there's a bunch of bullies.
Yeah. Well, that's how he got the name He-Man. He was, it's like the He-Man Club and Charles Atlas or whatever.
Yeah,
totally.
I'd say out of those, the Origins one actually works the most for me on both levels. The color on the Stratos one kind of has this majestic vibe that I'm really digging.
Yeah. No, these two are good. Yeah.
Like you can almost hear the wind in your ears while you're flying at that altitude. And then I do like Roboto versus Triclops versus Roboto versus Cobra-Con on the original one.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
The Cobra-Con is back there.
Yeah, see, I can't see him. He's too tiny for me on this.
Anytime that Triclops could pop up into something, I'm all for it because he's not used that much.
Yeah,
it's disappointing.
Yeah. Pop Actor says, for me as a kid, it was the space and planet backgrounds that fascinated him most. Yeah, I can see why that would be.
Mm-hmm.
The space imagery too. The planets shown up back there behind Stratos, it's like, you know, I want to live in that world where,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it reminds me of the first time watching the first Star Wars and seeing those two suns on Tatooine. It's like
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to see that.
Yeah, until you live in the freaking desert and like
Well,
I
that's
did.
why Attorney is the better option. Yeah.
Yeah. When I moved to Phoenix, I'm like, so this is what it's like to be on Tatooine. So,
Yeah, it feels like there's two suns in
yeah,
Phoenix,
it sure does, man. Burns your skin pretty fast.
for sure. So I never, I was not asking for Masters of the Universe figures when Scareglow came around, and so I never saw the card back art for this.
For the original, the vintage one.
Later on, yeah, the
Yeah.
original vintage one.
Yeah.
And I kind, you know, it's very rare for me to prefer the new one over the older one, but I kind of prefer the newer one here.
And these are another two that look really good for Origins because, like I said, the backgrounds aren't so loud.
Yep.
You can see more characters.
I mean, the coloration of the new one, of the new
Yeah.
Scareglow, is incredible. To be able to achieve that kind of luminous quality to that yellow is
Yeah,
quite
that vintage one, he looks more Halloweenish, like a Halloween costume,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, a Halloween decoration.
He's like a flasher.
Yeah.
That one, that's like, holy God.
ta-da! Yeah, it's not like
And like in the new one, the thing about the card backs for me was always like, what story are they gonna make you want to do? And I wouldn't have put together the idea of Scareglow scaring Adam in my head probably as a kid, but seeing the one on Origins, it's like, oh, that's cool. It's like, what are you gonna do if you have Adam out for the count because he's scared to death of something when you're fighting Scareglow? You know?
Yeah. Watch the Filmation episode Dark Dream.
Yep.
Dark Dreaming.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, these I do like these two. The Buzz Off is awesome as well. I like the blues and stuff in there and the whites.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah, I always liked Buzz Off though. I always thought he was cool. I don't know why a lot of people don't like him, but I like him.
I like him too.
Yeah, I just think it's neat. He's a neat character.
Yeah.
He's one of those like benchmark characters for me with Masters. I didn't love him, but he made me smile. I think it was the color scheme. Like he came out at the same time with like Battle Armor, He-Man, and Fisto, so there was this like acceptance of it. But then on top of it, just the yellow just made me smile knowing he was part of the collection, you know. And
Well,
and also I was watching WWF at the time, and they had that tag team called the Killer Bees.
oh yeah.
And those guys are cool, but they remind me of that. You know, they dressed and they had when they wanted to screw around, they put the masks on, and you couldn't tell which one was which. So, but they were good guys. But they did that like the villain thing, but they were good guys.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Thanos says, "I like the cave on the vintage Scareglow." for
yeah.
sure."
It's I like it too because I'm very into Halloween imagery, and yeah, it's cool stuff there.
Yeah, it's great.
It's just it's weird with Snout Spout, but I don't know. I think they could have chose somebody else, maybe.
Snout Spout is just funny. Like every time I see
And
it,
I love Snout Spout. I love him, but it's just
what's he doing in the cave?
yeah, right.
It's like it's almost like, what are they doing down there, anyways?
They're having a Halloween party. Looks like they're dancing.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo-hoo. Yeah.
they did the monster mash.
Totally. Thanos makes a good point. The Buzz Off in the vintage image looks really faithful to the vintage figure.
Yes.
It's like they just laid the figure down and drew him.
Well, I think they did that a lot though back then.
I believe it. All right, next slide. I love this Triclops. Both
of them. Yes.
Yeah.
And Zodak. Both of those they're both all four are excellent.
Yeah. Home runs all the way around.
Especially the evil vintage Zodak one.
Yeah.
The evil vintage Zodak is almost the Charlie Murphy of Masters. F your couch, F this, F that, just do everything, you know. Just
Charlie Murphy, oh man. That makes me happy.
Yeah, yeah, because Zodiac was one of the first figures I ever got, and I always loved him. And a lot of people didn't like him, but I think he's caught on more now. But it's I just love him.
Yeah.
He's way up there on my top Masters figures.
He was always one of those figures when I was a kid where like when they described him as a cosmic enforcer and you know, and he was a neutral kid, it made me confused because as a kid you don't really deal with neutral. It's usually good, bad, and that's the end of it. And as a kid, it was like really like like I'd almost do the whole holding him like what are you about? And I didn't understand them.
What are you?
And it was one of those times where like Filmation actually helped me understand this character somewhat better. But there is something to just that him being that neutral person. It's like there's not many characters you can ever point to say that's what he's about in that way.
Yeah.
And he fills this void that you didn't know was missing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that mask is iconic.
Yes, it is.
It's a super weird concept and design.
I remember because I asked Mattel on my Twitter a long time ago to make the helmet be available like they were doing with Star Wars, where you could buy all the Boba Fett helmets and all that stuff. I would love them to do a helmet of Zodak.
It would be
somebody else did it. I think like 3D printing or something. It looks really good, but I'd like to have like an authentic one.
I love those domed lenses.
Yes.
Yeah, so cool.
And the red is just awesome with the gray.
Yeah.
But that Triclops too, that's another good Origins. It's very faithful to the original too.
Look how the original has like organic shapes on on Triclops's lens thing.
Yeah.
There's like scales on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. It'd be neat to see like a version of Triclops where his armor and his mechanism, his seeing mechanism, was sculpted to look more organic rather than man-made. Because those scales on there, that's an interesting design choice.
Right.
I used to love images of Captain America as a kid because his chainmail.
Yeah.
Chainmail looks like scales.
Yeah.
There's always that texture was always fascinating to me. I really would just sort of like stare at that. Interesting. These are good too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Look how great that vintage Orko is, though.
Yeah, he's popping out of there because they put that glow effect around him. He's really standing out.
Yeah.
I used to love the vintage Orko figure. I love that thing.
Yeah, and I remember doing a poll on Twitter, and then other people were mentioning about it too, how they can't stand the vintage figure. And I was like, why? They just didn't like the way he looked, what his action feature was. They just thought it was stupid. I was like,
also,
okay.
It's like that vintage Orko figure was like a trick.
Yeah.
It was a trick on us because it's like you can remove the hat and you're going to see Orko. At least that was the concept I had in my head. You could remove the hat. And to what purpose to remove a hat than to see what's underneath it in that shadow? And then you take off the hat and it's just a black dome with the eyeball. Maybe those people who responded to your Twitter survey are still mad about that.
I don't know.
I love that. I love that was like a prank on us. So yeah, these are good. Fista, I mean, Jitsu's great,
Yeah, even the Origins one's really good. I like the background. That's where the background works.
Yep.
I like that.
For sure. Oh, and then don't get me started on the Evil Lyn artwork. Both of these are great. But I love that vintage one.
Yeah. Evil Lyn is just awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
I want to say she's my second favorite character. I get her and Man at Arms kind of tied.
Mm,
But
yeah.
yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, that the vintage one for me is still that sums it up right
Mhm.
the new one, it works and it has the majesty looking vibe of her.
Yeah.
But I, as a kid, I always loved the idea that she's sneaky. Like that was
Yes.
what you needed to know about her. She's working for Skeletor and she's sneaky and she'll figure it out on her own terms, just like this. And
Yeah.
it's like in my head, even as a kid, I was like, I bet she's doing this behind Skeletor's back.
Right.
Is she's gonna do something and then she'll get the power and then she'll go kick Skeletor's ass or
So
something.
that's what she always wanted.
Exactly. So
And
it's
she even
like,
told him in that Filmation episode, which I laugh every time I watch, and he's like, "Evil Lynn, what do you want? I want your power, Skeletor." And she starts laughing. I
It's
love that, man. It's just so bold, and
Yeah.
she's great.
I've said it before, like she and Shadow Weaver in the He-Man cartoon and then Shadow Weaver in the She-Ra cartoon,
Yeah.
they're the ones in charge, man.
Yep.
They're
Well, they're
ruling.
both smart. Yeah.
Exactly. I want to go back a little bit here. Let's see. Pop actor, who is Orko attacking? And I'm pretty sure that's Beastman. And then Pop actor said it's Beastman, but he has claws. I'm trying to. He's always had fingernail claws.
Yeah, it's Beast Man.
Right. But yeah, I mean that's definitely Beastman getting water dumped on him. So all right. And then Faker, of course, is great. I don't know about you guys, but I was really fascinated by the Faker action figure as a kid. I didn't have one, but my neighbor, or not my neighbor, but my friend had one, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I did too. My friend had it as well. It's kind of like what we were saying about the Anti-Eternia He-Man.
Mhm.
You like that evil version of He-Man in a way. You know, it's just it was easy for Mattel to make. They just changed colors, but as kids, you kind of really like that idea.
Yeah, and the reveal of the
Robotic sticker. Yeah.
no.
sticker when you take off the armor. I think that the artwork makes more sense in the vintage one for this Faker.
Oh, yeah.
That he's fighting He-Man. That
Yep.
makes more sense to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, it shows you,
Yeah.
what they're going for with that. Yep.
Yeah, Faker was one of those figures that my mom actually found before I found him. And when she saw it, she's like, Faker? And she just showed it to me. She's like, what's this about? And basically, she bought it because she needed to figure out what the deal was with this figure. And I'm like, sold. That's great. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even have to fight you on this one. You actually bought it for me. This is amazing.
Again, your mom proving what a cool mom is.
Yeah.
Well, she always growing up, she was into Star Trek a lot, and the whole mirror thing, I'm sure, played a part in what made her get a little like, what's this about? Because it's like, why is he blue and he's He-Man, but he's not He-Man, and it's like that opened my mind of those possibilities. Then because of that one character, that him and Bizarro from Superman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
And then,
Of course.
these are fantastic. I love the Tila one with Skeletor and Beastman just sort of wandering out there, and she's like watching, scoping it out.
So is there a pattern now that we're looking at, because these are the ones we're showing lately are like the older card backs for Origins. Are they starting to get a little too much with the newer versions now
Maybe.
compared to what they did originally here? I mean, look, you can really see the characters and the backgrounds are really good, and then more modern figures are getting a little bit louder
You're right.
and more muted.
There's definitely the highlights and the shadows are toned down in the older ones. The newer ones, like I'm having to look at some of those and go, I can't make out what's in the shadows anymore from the size it is on my screen, at least. But here, like, and I love that in the Triclops one, he's sliding in on the zip line. because that was one of the fun features about that character, and you actually, the fact that they included that within it is perfect. I do love that. And honestly, I do see what you mean about the vintage one for Teela, but I kind of dig the fact she's just like freaking beating the hell out of a merman. Like, if you ever wanted to know what her deal was, there you go.
Yeah,
she's a warrior goddess. Go for it. You know, like just attempt to take her down, see what happens.
Well, the vintage one's like, okay, guys, just keep walking. I'm going to come up and I'm going to kick the shit out of you without you even knowing I'm there.
There is that too. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, look, I didn't even notice this before, but Stratos's toes are like fingers.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he's looking the way he's looking. They're all he has like a Charlie horse going on in the middle of the battle, and that's why he's helping out now.
And he's Stratos
foot cramp.
Yeah, foot cramp. Oh my God, I can't land.
He's scared Trapjaw. Trapjaw was doing something else. Look at him. He's like turning around. He's like,
He's like, I was trying to sneak up on you. I swear to God, I wasn't trying to sneak up on you.
Oh man,
it is great.
Oh, and Merman's face in the Origins art is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And these are great too. I love that Clamp Champ and Rio Blast are sitting around a campfire, and Ninjor jumps in and attacks them. They're just trying to like roast some dogs on the fire.
Well, that shows you how sneaky Ninjor is. You know, he just pop up on you. Hey!
He's like the lunchtime bully. You will give me all your hot dogs.
Yes. Give me those s'mores.
Give your wieners.
Could probably eat them without chewing them.
Bobby didn't go there.
No, I was just about to say he eats them without chewing them.
Oh man, but he still has to take his mask down.
Right. He just pops them in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is the funny thing. Like
swallows.
The ninja stuff started kicking in the mid and late 80s, really, if I remember right.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
Ninja Gaiden and all that, yeah.
Yeah, and when you see this art, I mean, it's like it was still new enough that they probably were like, he's a ninja. Well, what do you do? He's jumping in. Okay, fine. And I like how the new one, it's like, no, he looks like he's just coming in and doing the whole like Storm Shadow.
Yeah,
he looks more like he's Storm Shadow busting up things rather than he just jumping in for a wiener. So yeah. I can't not keep saying that. And the other thing about the vintage for Ram Man, now that I look at that, Skeletor should be dead.
Yeah.
Like, Skeletor's his whole chest should just be a bloody maw of ooze because of that. It's like him fighting against the Roton actually is a way cooler way to sell that figure. Now that I see that.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
He's hitting bigger objects, yep.
And he's getting bigger. I mean, he was so tiny in the Filmation cartoon, and in this image here, just a little guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Powerful ability.
You still gotta love Ramy though.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pop Actor saying White Ninjor is a good guy. Yes.
Yeah.
And this image, you could kind of perhaps think that the black is white here because of the way the light from the flame.
It's just the fire shining on him. Yeah.
But yeah.
And if he was all black, you wouldn't be able to tell in that night shot too well
Exactly.
what he is. He'd be too muddy.
They didn't have to. By the way, they didn't have to make it at night. They didn't have to draw this at night. He didn't have to be sneaky.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be sneaky, and that's what you do. Is you have that, He's not going to be like coming out in the daylight, say, "Hey, you guys saw me. Let me go hide again."
Oh, you're doing a barbecue.
Yeah.
That's his battle cry. Barbecue.
Who melted all the marshmallows?
Yeah, I like all four of these, to be honest with you. They're all great.
Yeah.
Probably jumping marshmallows. Yes. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, look at Man at Arms. They gave him in both. I mean, Teela's in the background of the first one, but both he's by himself almost.
Yeah.
I mean,
that Origins one does work very well.
Yeah. Letting him sort of, stand out.
That vintage one is not so much my favorite. He looks kind of, I don't know, bulky. You know, like he's got to go take a crap or something.
He's
I don't
Marlon
know.
Brando. Look at his face. That's Marlon Brando from The Godfather.
Yeah, right.
Cora said about the Tila art back there when we were looking at that. The vintage one reminded her of the landscape of North Germany with the fields and the birch trees.
Mm.
I'm interested, Cora, does this Man-at-Arms vintage one remind you of that too? Because I could see that.
Yeah.
Those European mountainscapes. But I love Man-at-Arms shooting Merman, just blasting Merman up there.
I wish that in the vintage they could have done the origin art for Man-at-Arms instead.
I said Man-at-Arms, I meant Manny Faces.
Yeah, yeah. But when I see the one for the one that Axel did for Man-at-Arms now, versus, for me there's no comparison. I never thought of Man-at-Arms in like an action way when I was a kid. Like he had all the armor and stuff, but I always felt like he just didn't look like a man of action. He looked more like he had an arsenal. And he would be the guy that almost is like, He-Man, you need help here, take this or something. You know, that guy. And here it's like, no, he's standing his ground. He's gonna fight until the bitter end. That would have sold me on that figure so much better as a kid than him walking through trying to find out where the porta potty is. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I no offense to Errol McCarthy, because I enjoy you know, predominantly a lot of his stuff, but that one just did not work for me with that character. And again, you know, Origins real quick on Manny Faces at least gave you what that figure is about. And I kind of dig that a little bit more than the original for that reason. It's the same with like the Buzzsaw Hordak. This one is just like man, monster, boom. It's like as a kid, if I would have seen that, I'd be like, that's awesome. Like this guy can be more than one figure. That's all. You know, how often does that happen?
Right. I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah, totally. Hop Actor says Merman looks awful. He's a little gloopy for sure.
He's just getting shot. So
he just jumped out of the shower and he got shot by Manny Faces. He-Man's like, dudes, chill.
It was cold water.
Oh man,
that's why he's gonna attack him. Manny Faces was just pointing and laughing at him for too long. He was like, "Knock it off, both of you."
Sure, I hear of shrinkage.
There you go. I can't do that voice.
Man-at-Arms artwork looks more like Black Forest or even the Alps. Okay, yeah, I can see that for sure. Herman Hesse back there in the background. Yeah, sorry, German author. Then we've got Sorceress and Clam Champ.
Yep.
And I like all these.
Yeah, they're all good. Yeah,
they're all good. I mean, not like we're looking for complaints, but
no.
I do love that tree with the mushrooms and so the sparse leaves and how she's transforming from Zor into the Sorceress right there, and Hordak's like, what was that? I love that. But he's always like, what's behind me?
Yeah.
From Buzzsaw Hordak too.
It's always gonna be that jerk always sneaking up behind me.
Gotta watch your back.
That's right. That's the lesson. Castle Grayskull looks great in that card back.
I love the Origins one for Sorceress, because I love that was a nod to the Green Goddess in the main comics, and then they put her, because like, I mean, obviously that would become, Sorceress would basically take her place for a lot of people in the mythology with Filmation and stuff, and I'm like, I really like that it's that nod and the wink there, you know, with doing it that way, and also just the design. I think is really cool. It flows nicely with her, the staff going into the He-Man and the Grayskull images. And again, I like the Clamp Champ one too. That they took a fight scene which looked okay originally, but then they turned it into something more dramatic with him actually grabbing Ninjor this time.
Yeah.
It's like he's legit protecting the king.
Yep.
Versus it looks like in the original they're just feeling each other out on the battlefield of what their pros and cons are in the fight. You know.
Yeah, I do like the origins, like you said, because he is protecting Randor.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
In the vintage, he's just breaking the nunchucks and the sword.
He's like, my weapon's better than yours.
Yeah, exactly. Weapon against weapon.
I am the champ of clamps, by the way.
I do like how he has his hand up like they're fencing though. He's got a Zorro kind of thing going on with.
I thought it was more like him doing like a puppet, like, "Hey, motherfucker, look at this, and grab you."
Look behind me.
Hey, look at this.
Exactly.
Got your nunchucks.
I'm with you, Captain Biscuit 71. I think that would be a good poster for sure, like giant poster. The Man at Arms, vintage
the Origins one.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's talking about. Captain Biscuit? Are you talking about the origins of the vintage here?
Yeah, it says new.
The new one.
Yeah.
Oh, new one. Yeah. How did
and
you missed a key word there.
Something I like about that one too, that going back to it real quick, is I just like that that's how you initially see him on the intro.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that, man, our friends, man.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You know, and it just.
If you look at my Twitter and you look up Man at Arms, I did a post on that saying that's my favorite shot of all Filmation. Sorry, I had to plug that.
No, that's great. Pop Actor, why in the heck did I have to wait until 87 to get a Sorceress? I had to use Zor since 83 as the Sorceress. Yeah, Sorceress did come out late.
Yes,
but not to bring it up again, but we're getting Moss Man pretty late, so I guess it can happen. And yeah, Thanos Copter saying I love both of these Sorceress picks. Yeah,
they're both great. They both got different dynamics. I like them.
Yep. Now go ahead, Bobby. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say the original He-Man is best.
Yeah. That I would want to have a poster of, and also the Skeletor too, vintage, both of those.
Yes.
And I do have to say, I know we're trying not to critique, but for some reason, the cardback art on the first release of He-Man Origins and the cardback art for the first release of Skeletor Origins just did not make me feel the overwhelming nostalgia I wanted to feel.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't feel that.
It didn't quite do it for me. It's almost like they were just it's almost like they were getting used to it or just getting into the pool, Yeah. What are we going to do with this information? But looking at the Skeletor and He-Man on the card back when they were hanging on the peg was like, that's what did it for me. So I didn't care. Like that was amazing. But I much prefer the vintage card backs for both of these.
I see. Here's the thing. As a kid, I thought the He-Man one was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I never really was wowed by that or the Skeletor one because, like, as you know the characters after a while, like it's nice to have that quiet moment there and all that. I get that, and you see, okay, Man at Arms and Teela are right there with him and all that. But for me, I did like how Axel was like, let's go with a more like attempt at an epic moment, because that basically is like him turning Cringer into Battle Cat moment for me.
Yeah.
And you got Grayskull right behind him and all that, and the hardest part of that for both the new ones that Axel, he worked within the constraints nicely, is it's horizontal.
Oh yeah.
If it was a vertical image, I think.
Oh, we lost you there.
Yeah.
Would be in that top. So But with Skeletor, I actually like the fact that it also was the mini comics when he's like conjuring at the side of the volcano in the first one.
Yep.
So I dug that. But that one, the way that the angle is, always made me go. It looks like he's about to commit suicide and just jump in because he can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And that, again, I'm not trying to dog initial reaction when I saw it. I'm like, I like where you're going with it, but it doesn't work to have it behind him because it really does make him go, ah, and he just falls backward like in the '87 movie. So yeah, like I guess the original Skeletor I like better, but I do like the epic look of the new He-Man a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I see that. Hylian Dread says, I think the first Origins He-Man was like Mattel thinking thinking that they would create the vintage He-Man, or that we would like it better if he looked like the I thought that was my eyes playing
No,
the wood. But yeah, I think that's true. I think that's even why they gave him a different head sculpt and
yeah,
and the backlash, and then they gave him the original, closer to the original one.
which I'm glad they did. I didn't understand that.
I'm glad they did too. Yeah. I think Hylian Dread is right, though. I think they were trying to get closer to like a filmation version of that.
Yeah. They're trying to make it like a new fresh look to grab kids, but it didn't work.
Well, I guess the one thing I'll say is I feel like maybe with Skeletor and He-Man and both of these, it could be a design by committee deal too, because those are your marquee guys.
Right.
I know with the Horsemen in 2000X, they had to do a design by committee to make He-Man's face and head look right for that era. Yeah. And they had like different versions they did, but then Mattel had to go into, well, now we have to test it. And now we got to do all this, and what one do the kids respond to? So I almost feel like maybe there could have been some elements of that with the art direction here, where maybe too many cooks in the kitchen kind of a deal.
Oh yeah, I can see that for sure. Look, I want both of those vintage images as posters for sure.
Oh yeah, they're classics.
And now Beastman came out at the same time that Skeletor and He-Man came out in Origins, and I did have a positive reaction to the Beastman artwork on the back, card back of that Origins release. I really did like that. I do love the vintage version, but I also
the vintage version is awesome.
Yeah, I also really like the Origins one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that battle armor Skeletor on the Origins, if that would have been just traditionally looking Skeletor, that would have been a freaking badass one to do for the original Origins piece. You ask me, instead of just having battle armor. But yeah, that I do like that when you see Beastman, it's like there's no doubting who that is with how many beasts are in the background and him being the king of them and controlling them. That's just awesome.
Yep. I never noticed with the battle armor Skeletor image that was Snake Mountain behind him. I never noticed that on the Origins.
Yeah, it's real close up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You really got to look at it wide-eyed.
Very cool. Yeah.
So look how cool that Origins is for Clawful. I mean,
yeah, it's great.
That's what I'm saying. It's not really loud.
Yep. Well balanced. Got a whiplash in the back too, adding to everything. I love whiplash and I love Clawful, so together.
Yeah, that's an upgrade for me. Like, I all of the dynamicness of that one versus the other one. It's like peach, but that one's just like, we're gonna rip your freaking ponytail off, or whatever.
The shield is all banged up.
Yeah, like a big swipe at her. And he's also got his club on the other hand too. So
yep, that's true. You're right. I'm never gonna be able to look at that picture the same again, Shawn.
Sorry.
No,
I mean, it really did. He's like, Peach.
He's like,
It's like a Muppet one in that one, and in the other one, it's legit. This is what Masters of the Universe is about. Clawful's about to take her on, and she's still not backing down from him.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now these two Thunder Punch He-Man images where I'm not sure if it's for the Horde Troopers or if it's for Thunder Punch He-Man. What do you guys think? I never got the Thunder Punch He-Man figure, and when I got the Horde Trooper figure, I didn't really look. I just got them open and got rid of the cardback art. But I can't tell which one is, if it's for Thunder Punch He-Man or for the Horde Trooper.
I think it's Thunder Punch, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It works for both. I could, because it's showing the play feature of the Horde Trooper in both of them.
Yeah.
And also showing the play feature for Thunder Punch He-Man.
Yeah, the Origins one's too loud. I don't like it.
I think they're both there's a lot going on in both.
Yeah, way too much going on in both of them. But I do like in the Origins one, you get Hordak not looking over his shoulder for once. He's looking dead on. It's like, oh,
he's more stunned. Like, what the hell's going on?
It wasn't supposed to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Hordak is like, oh dang.
Man, back to the drawing board.
Yep.
That vintage Mantenna one is epic.
Yes.
I mean, he's like leading the troop.
Yeah, he looks tough, doesn't he? Like he's strong. He's not a weakling.
Yeah.
He's great. Like, I'm here, motherfuckers. I'm gonna kill your ass.
And Hordak's back there. That's right. This is my friend Mantenna. He's gonna stare at you.
And the Origins one's even really good too. That sounds stupid. It's really good. It's really good. But yeah,
I'm not the only one who's tired.
Yeah.
But the Leech one is great in both.
I do. I love both of them.
Yeah. Bobby and I were talking about how there's the abundance of green in the vintage one is just like spectacular.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a Charlie Brown cartoon.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or like a Halloween cartoon from back in the 80s,
Yep.
Just got those colors.
Yep.
But it's cool. I like that I like the Man at Arms, of course, with the Leech, but it's cool that they did that Leech with Tongue Lasher.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of dig the Origins one a little bit more because it's spookier looking.
It's more organic looking.
Yeah.
Because it literally looks like the other one, it looks almost like, hey, you could have a nice little home here on the bayou in Eternia, that kind of vibe from the original. But in the new one, there's a comic artist, Glenn Fabry, that his style looks similar, or like Simon Bisley. There's this almost like a horror vibe to the new one that you don't get a lot in the other ones that I'm digging about. That it looks like you do not want to be in that swamp. You do not want to meet this guy.
Yeah. Yep. Pop Actor asked, why is he attacking Tongue Lasher? And then Cora chimed in with the fact that the Horde and the Snakemen don't like each other. And there have been times in the cartoon, Tongue Lasher is working for the Horde for a little bit.
Yeah. In the Filmation. Yeah.
In Filmation. So there's been they've had their ups and downs.
Flush Head in there as well as a trio fight.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Yeah. And I was looking at this one. It reminded me of the very beginning of our episode with Joe Amato when you started off by saying, you know what it's like when you have a water balloon burst.
Yeah. I didn't say like a water. I said the thing splashes on you like it hits you with like a water balloon.
Yeah.
We don't know what the hell I was talking about.
I figured it out, and I think this I saw this image and it was hilarious. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, it's funny that the vintage is him just spraying water on you, but the Origins is really good. I like that one.
Yeah, they're both upgrades in my opinion with Origins.
Yeah.
It's interesting too. Like I've never really gone into the back to the box art for a lot of the later figures. Like the older ones were always where I could remember them easiest. And as I got into the artwork on some of the later ones, it's like you could really tell they were just letting. I'm not saying it was bad, but it's like the punch of the Errol McCarthy era.
Yeah.
That sounds really dumb, but you know, that was gone. And now we have like in-house artists who are doing this compared to the other talent that they had originally, and it is lacking something for me.
It's like the mini comics too.
Yeah.
As the line progressed, the mini comics artwork got a little less. There was less attention to detail.
Yeah.
In some cases, yeah, there was. But then they also brought in Bruce Timm, which that's mind blowing to me. Like right in the Horde era.
Oh, that's true.
Doing some of the stuff, and he was knocking it out of the park visually with a lot of that. His master's artwork, but I mean that Leech comic book for me is like I still to this day look at that and go, what am I looking at on these pages? Like it just that one for me is like if you could do better than that, you already won. Because I just as a kid, that thing was like nightmare fuel. I could not understand what I was looking at the entire time.
The Leech mini comic for the Origins version is no, not Leech, Grizzlor. The Grizzlor version for the one is pretty scary. If I was a kid reading that, I'd be like, whoa, yikes.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're back to Frazetta's influence with this Wondar, this wonderful Wondar image.
Yeah, finally Wondar is cool.
Yeah, totally. Look at he's badass. He's like, you know, tossing skeletons aside. It's like Army of Darkness here. He's Bruce Campbell.
Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah. Hey, she-bitch, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
This is my boomstick or sword. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Or little tiny axe.
Yeah, little tiny axe. Sorry. Yeah. No, again, I'm really digging that. I had no idea they were going to these lengths because I haven't been collecting the new stuff as much. But now that I'm seeing this, I'm like, God bless you for going this route, because it makes me happy to see that they're using that influence and making it work within masters like this. And I don't view this as, oh, they're just copying it. No. He's legit doing all of the anatomy, doing everything else. It's the influence of it all.
It's a cyclical thing, you know, where, you know, Masters was influenced by Frazetta. Now Frazetta is being incorporated into the artwork, and it's coming all back around. So it's like it is a cyclical thing, and it's brilliant. And you know, not all people are going to notice it, and that's fine. But
it's just like musicians, you know, you can hear their influences in their own music from the ones that they loved in the past as well. So artists can do the same thing. Yeah,
absolutely. You wouldn't have the Strokes without Television. I don't know if you guys know the band Television from New York, and
oh yeah, I got their first album.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You wouldn't have the Strokes without them. You wouldn't have. Yeah, I mean, the list goes on, right?
Yeah, the singer just died too. The singer guitarist.
That's
a great album.
Yeah, amazing.
The thing about music, and I can almost compare it to this in this way for me right now, is like you only have so many chords, you only have so many notes. So it's how do you make those into something that then is your contribution?
Yeah.
Right? It's sort of the same thing in the fantasy realm, in my opinion. There are only so many poses you can have of a barbarian doing something or a warrior doing something before you're starting to see how many people have already done something similar. So make it your own by doing this or that. And that's what's happening here, in my opinion. And it's going to show you, you know, it's like we've said it earlier, you know, the influencing from other ideas, because there's no original ideas. It's all variations of the influences to create the next idea. And that's exactly what I'm seeing when I see this. So
Yeah.
I'm glad Bobby thinks Wondar's cool here, because I always thought Wondar was pretty cool since Classics, at least. So yeah, nice to know.
He came with a loaf of bread in Classics.
He did. He had the Wonder Bread circle on the back of his armor and everything.
Yeah. I mean, the whole story of the convoluted story of Wondar is fascinating in itself, and I have a lot of respect for that. Like us as fans just trying to piece it together. Like, what the heck is this thing?
Mm-hmm.
And that to me makes him will always be cool in my book, because there was such a mystery behind him. And it's hilarious that he came with a loaf of bread in Classics, as a nod to that.
I hate Wonder Bread because I used to have to eat it all the time for lunch when I was a kid. So it's like the worst bread you could ever freaking eat, and I had to eat that shit with chicken roll and all kinds of crap. Yeah.
He's holding on to a grudge that's deep.
Yeah.
But this is Bobby's Sand moment. It's I hate sand. It gets everywhere. I hate Wonder Bread.
Well, the thing was too, when in grade school, I was really young, of course, and I had Wonder Bread as an influence, so I made him as Wonder Bread as like a superhero. So I had Wonder Bread, and then Stale Bread was my villain.
Oh, I like it.
And then when I was watching Ren and Stimpy, and it had that breadhead guy, fucking pissed me off. I was like, "That's my creation. I did like 10 years ago, and it's all on TV." And it's like, son of a bitch, you know.
Milk Toast, Captain Milk Toast, or whatever his name.
It was just that made me angry when I saw that, because I was like, I did that when I was like 7 years old.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Go ahead, Shawn.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, for me, going into the future and progressing masters because of the whole dare idea doesn't interest me as much as I wish it would. But the thing that I would be very interested in doing is, if they are saying, okay, Wondar is in the history of Masters versus being, right there with He-Man in that age, I would definitely either read or watch a story where it's showing him before Adam's born being that guy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to involve the Power Sword, because I know in Classics it was the whole, the Power Sword got handed generation. Just have him be this adventurer during that time.
That would quench your thirst for that barbarian aspect that we're kind of missing now.
Absolutely.
And it could be a brown-haired hero, I've said it before. I like Wondar because he's a badass brown-haired version of He-Man, with cool ass armor, and I can identify with a brown-haired hero easier than identifying with a blonde-haired hero. That's just because I have brown hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy's great. I like this image of him ripping it apart.
Yeah.
Jason and the Argonaut skeletons influence as well. Yes, Harryhausen.
Yeah,
those skeleton warriors, definitely Harryhausen. Yeah, absolutely, Captain Biscuit.
You'll be able to recreate that image soon if you have a Wondar, because they're doing those 2-packs.
Yep, that's true.
That'll be fun.
That's true. Then we got the artwork that you wanted to share, and I'm glad you sent us these images, because speaking of artistry, I mean, these images in particular, there's 3 of them here. We're starting off with this one, are astoundingly beautiful, and similarly, as we mentioned before, you can see the hand of the artist in those background paintings in the Filmation cartoon. What I love about these paintings too is you can see the brush strokes, and they're just great.
These, when I was a kid, I legit looked at these and felt like somebody visited Eternia and they didn't have a camera, so they did their damnedest to paint this as fast as they could before Battle Cat mauled them, and then brought it back to us so they could put it on the toys. I mean, like Skelly said, the brushwork is there. You can just see the impressions of these things. But then the thing is, as dark as it looks, Rudy Obrero did not shy away from the colors to help with contrast. He still has some oranges in there. He's got some blues in there. It's not all just black and red and earth tones and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't remember which one was the one that I got first, whether I got Battle Cat or the Battle Ram or Wind Raider first. But these were legit, like, this is how I always hoped to see Masters as a kid. And like you're going to see a lot of darkness in these. Right. And that was a huge part of what made He-Man different for me. Like, Superman was always that big brother. And I loved Superman. Superman would be that, like, if you got a bully, all of a sudden he comes up behind you and the bully runs away because it's like, oh crap, you know, like this guy. And then he'd always be like, I'm a friend. And he'd just smile at you and make you feel better. He-Man was the guy that if you were in this landscape and you were by yourself and you heard noises in that darkness and you start hearing the cackle of Skeletor coming out of that, and you see the red eyes and he's coming out for you. And all of a sudden He-Man just jumps over you. He's like, I've got this. And he's just going at it with everybody. That's my He-Man. That is my legit, like, he's like, you know, like, he's not going to hold back. He's going to go after the things that scare you because he doesn't want you to be afraid anymore. That's He-Man to me. So this image completely solidifies what I saw in He-Man as a kid.
Yeah. And that's because Obrero's got such a talent at creating those layers of color and of darkness and of light, like you said earlier. So you look at that background, that sort of like deep red background, and you look carefully at the layers of color peeking out from it. You see that there's this light underneath it, and that those layers of light and dark is what makes Eternia in these images exactly how you described it. Skeletor lurking in the darkness, and He-Man showing up. The light and the balance of light and dark is great.
Absolutely.
Again, you're seeing that here too, and you know, it's just masterful.
It is.
Yeah, I always loved the image of the Battle Ram, both with just, you know, the bottom image of him riding on it, and then even using the jet sled or the sky sled there. You know, it's like, I love both of those. It shows He-Man looking heroic, and just, he's getting in there in the battle just as much as everybody else and all that. It's very take charge. Let's win this one and go home kind of a vibe, and I dig that.
Yeah, I mean, the Battle Ram art especially is so good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think probably after Battle Cat, probably the Battle Ram is my next favorite. It's like Grayskull actually is maybe like 4th or 5th for me.
Wow.
Because these get enough time to set the tone of the world. Grayskull is like one location, but these are like random battles across that world. Interesting to me.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
It is. It is.
Well, that's it for the slides. But I'm glad we got through them all.
Yeah, and, it was good.
It was a good discussion.
It was interesting. It was more interesting than I thought it was going to
be. We were, you know, it's like, you know, Oz sent me the slides, and I imagine Oz had a bunch of things to say about the images too. So, but you know, it's great to hear your guys' perspective on why you like this stuff and why some stuff works and some doesn't work as much. I love hearing that. Let me just remove that. Rudy Obrero and Alcala are my favorites, and yeah, for sure.
Same.
Yeah,
me too. Pop actor, me too.
Same. I'd say the only other person I could think of right now that is very similar, and no offense to Axel, but Nate Barch.
Yeah, Nate Barch.
He just keys in on what made those great, and he still can do that through his art, and it just feels like coming home.
Yeah, for sure. That's the key, right? The artwork now needs to feel like we're coming home. It needs to give us that. And if it gives us that, it'll also, Mattel should just trust that it's also going to grab a young kid's imagination that has never even seen this stuff before. Because if it works for us now, because it's working for us because it did that for us when we were kids. So
yeah, I agree. Masters is one of the hardest lines for me on that level, because like other toy lines up until recently with Masters have had the chance to redo things. Turtles has always had a presence. Transformers has always had a presence over the last like couple decades. It's like Masters, they want to match it up to what works now in visuals. And it's like comic book art still works, but there is something to be said about like the painterly style, like what Brero brought to the table or William George brought to the table. And they're doing aspects of it, but I feel like it's still a little more comic book-esque, comic book centric. And I really wish that they would just go full force. Let's just do some digital paintings, sequences again. And I don't know what they would do, because they already are so far into Origins, they're so far into Masterverse, and Masterverse is doing a little bit of that, but I still like that William George, Rudy Obrero vibe versus, you can tell in certain cases that there is the digital painting to some of those box arts in Masterverse. I kind of wish you couldn't tell it as much with how they're doing it. So that's something, but still, I give them credit for the fact they're still going to art.
Yep.
They're still going to, someone, whether it be digital or it's still being drawn by someone's hand. It's still painted.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because I know that you work with digital painting tools often. And to say, it would be nice to see some more painterly stuff. It gives me hope. It's sort of like when Kindles started to become popular and people were like, "Are books going to go away?" Digital art becoming the way we make most art these days for products. Does that
went with comic books as well too?
Yeah. Does that mean that painting or inking is going to go away? And I don't think so, because we'll always have a craving for the thing that is tangible or appears tangible.
It's like I bought the CD. A lot of people don't buy CDs and stuff, and I have to, because it's the full package. It's not just the music. You got the art, you got the inserts, and all the stuff that they mention in here. You have to have that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same reason why I'd rather buy a clawful
in comic books, Hellboy or whatever. You have to have have to have it. I can't just go the digital route. I just can't do that.
If this was offered to me digitally, I wouldn't be as interested.
Of course not. I wouldn't even bother with
it. Like for me, at least, the digital, the way I look at it is the digital is a means to accomplish an end, and it's a tool. And the thing is, I don't know. I'm pretty sure everybody, toy production wise now, has gone digital. I don't think they're doing the traditional sculpting like they used to. Everybody's doing ZBrush or something along those lines, because it is streamlining the process. Same as digital artwork streamlines the process, but that doesn't mean that the other stuff is invalid or hasn't gotten a place. It's more from a production standpoint, that's a faster way of getting something done versus, Rudy Obrero bringing in the art for Castle Grayskull, which was huge, them having to take a photo of it. And then if they looked at it and they go, well, why is Skeletor in the mouth of Grayskull? And then they go, well, you got to take it back and repaint it. And then like 3 weeks later, he's bringing it's like you could do that within an hour. If you have Photoshop or Procreate or something. So I understand it from the production side at least, but I feel like Masters always has a place in traditional or digital. But But I do miss the painterly thing now. Now that we've gone this far, I'm like, yeah, I'm missing the Rudy Obrera vibe. I need some of that back into Masters now that we're this far in. So,
and they work it in. You know, there's some like the background behind Clawful on the Masterverse package. They're working on trying to create that kind of depth of field and layers and ethereal quality that you could achieve through using the paint on a canvas.
Yeah.
So they're working on it, but it's true, and I think it's good to have a balance of both for sure.
Absolutely.
JMax77 said, "So much great perspective tonight, guys. Always a joy to hear your thoughts. I look forward to it all week." Man, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Speaking of bringing the hand back, this is what I drew while we were talking.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's awesome. With the black flag on it. Yeah.
Is it anarchist punk rock Grimace?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Grimace.
It's fantastic. Which could be given away on one of our giveaways now.
Yeah, maybe the original, or maybe I'll do a better version. The original's on a receipt. I don't know if I. Oh no, there's nothing behind it. It is one of those 8.5 by 11 printed out receipts. So
okay,
it's good. There's nothing behind them. I might cut them out.
Good.
Paste them on a piece of plywood.
There you
go. Guys, this was a blast. We missed having Oz and Adam, but I know they're gonna rewatch this. They're gonna be really sad they weren't here. But it's not about making them jealous. It's about understanding why they weren't here. So I hope those two guys are doing good.
Yep.
And that they enjoyed their evening. And Oz, I hope you got some rest. And Adam, I hope you're able to enjoy your family.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But thank you all so much in the chat for being here. I mean, as always, you guys are on it. You're all talking to each other in there, and old Grimace of the 70s is creepy. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's part of the reason why I love him.
They all were. Yeah.
They were all creepy. Yeah, awesome stuff. Thanks, Thanos. Fun talk tonight, guys. Thanks for sticking around through the whole thing. We really appreciate you having you here. So what's up? What's up, Bobby, Shawn? What's on the agenda for you guys coming up? Anything?
Nothing.
Back
to you guys.
Back to you.
So tomorrow night we'll do our next episode of Offworld with the Dooch and Jesse and Curtis, and we're going to be going over Shazam: Fury of the Gods and a couple other things here and there. So yeah,
cool. Was that good, Shazam: Fury of the Gods? I didn't see it yet.
I liked it. I mean, the Shazam movies aren't really like my favorite DC stuff, but I appreciate that they're bringing fun into it at least.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty good moments near the end where I was like, yeah, that hit me in the feels a few times. So, and anything that does that usually gets a little more credit out of me because I appreciate if a movie can do that to me nowadays.
Yeah, that's what Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did for me.
Oh yeah,
I got punched in the gut like 5 times watching that movie.
Really?
It was good. I would say. I mean, I don't want to. And I don't know if people are fans of that franchise or not, but I think
I am.
I've said it before, but James Gunn would be an amazing director for Masters of the Universe. He's really good at what he does. He has a lot of background in making movies for nothing, and I think that really shows in working with big budgets. But he tells a good story. I mean, just like if you like animals, it's gonna kill you, man.
Yeah.
It was rough for me, but it was a good kind of rough. It was really well done.
Yeah. For me, I gotta say, and I promise I will shut up. I gotta say that like this one didn't do it for me on that level. Like I felt the pain. Like the one sequence I will say that really hit me is there's that one moment, and I'm trying not to spoil a huge amount of it, but there's this one moment where Rocket has an emotional breakdown, and all he just does is scream.
Oh yeah,
what part I'm talking about?
Yep.
And he just screams, and then the bad guy starts making fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those moments where I was like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
I had no idea that I was going to go into this movie expecting a CGI raccoon to hit me like that.
Yeah,
The way
right.
the scene played out. But it was brilliantly done. So,
Yeah.
but Volume 2 will always kick my ass because the end of that movie, when they play Cat Stevens for the funeral, oh my God, that is hard to watch for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. If you've got dad issues,
yeah, I do.
Volume 2 is gonna get you, man.
Yep, absolutely.
Sure. Those are those are good movies, and they're not I mean, nothing's fantastic, as far as superhero movies go, but those are pretty good. I got to chime in here because Pop Actor is talking about the early version of Grimace, the brown one. I think so, and I'm not an expert Pop Actor, but the earliest version of Grimace looks a little bit muddy because of the quality of film. He's still kind of a dirty purple, and he had 4 arms, and he was terrifying, and he was sort of a bad guy, and he was supposed to be a milkshake thief, and maybe that's what you're talking about because he is scary looking. Nobody wants to see. I mean, nobody wants to walk into their house and see this, but definitely not that dirty old forearm Grimace either. So I get you, Pop Actor. Watch those old commercials; they're all on YouTube, and they're fantastic. And I just went through a whole thing, so I just went deep with McDonald's, folks. So I'm still riding that wave. So I guess click like and subscribe. Do the YouTube things. I've got another Snake Mountain build video coming out this weekend. By the end of the month, that thing's probably going to be done. I mean, I'm not probably. It's going to be done by the end of the month. It's been a long time coming. I'm also renovating the living room, so it's like balancing this stuff. So forgive me, folks, if you like those videos and they're not coming out fast enough for you. I just do what I can. And thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to the patrons and everybody for watching. Oh shoot, Oz isn't here, so I got to get the.
Oh yeah.
I got to get the end credits thing going here.